I know. We only just got the iPhone 16s 3 months ago. However, if you've been on the web recently, you may have seen some early leaks on the upcoming iPhone 17 Pro already. And it's actually getting some significant changes. So here are not 5, not 10, but 6 early iPhone 17 Pro leaks. Okay, so the first is a brand new design, and this is really the biggest change that we're getting. According to the information, the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max will feature some significant design changes. What are those changes, you may ask? Well, apparently a completely redesigned back, one where the camera modules will be in the center, sitting on a rectangular camera island. On top of this, the back will apparently be made from not one, but 2 materials. Part of it would be made from glass to allow for wireless charging, while the top would be made out of aluminium, or aluminum for the US peeps out there. But yeah, such a design would kind of resemble the idea behind the old iPhone 5 and 5S, where part of the back was aluminium and part of the back was glass. And I remember when I first saw this design, it looked so odd to me, but then it kind of grew on me over time, and I feel like if Apple does indeed go for a design like this, it will grow on us over time as well. But okay, how likely is such a design? I would say pretty likely, for a number of reasons. Number one, the information has actually been a reliable source in the past. Number two, Apple hasn't changed the back design of their iPhones since the iPhone 11. I mean, sure, the camera module has gotten bigger, but if we're talking about the design language alone, the back has indeed remained unchanged for the past 5 years. And 3, aside from the standard iPhone 17 and the 2 Pro models, there's also said to be an iPhone 17 Air launching next year. That's also coming with a brand new design and a central camera module. So having the camera module centered on the Pro models too would make a lot of sense for keeping the new design language consistent. As for that dual material look, like I said, Apple has done this in the past with the iPhone 5 and 5S, so this design could actually return. Although the iPhone 17 Air is rumored to be made entirely out of aluminium, and I don't believe they'll be dropping wireless charging and MagSafe anytime soon, so I wouldn't be surprised if future leaks end up showing the iPhone 17 Air as also having this dual material back, so an aluminium body and then also glass. This way, Apple would still have wireless charging and MagSafe on all of their 4 iPhone models, whilst keeping that design consistent. And really, my only genuine complaint with this new design is that it will resemble Google's Pixel phones a bit too much with that central camera visor. Although, on a technical level, it does make more sense to have the camera modules like this, as you do have more space for future expansion. Essentially, they've got plenty of room to make the camera sensors bigger and bigger for the next few years, without necessarily changing the size and shape of that camera island. Now, what's a bit strange to me is this next leak, which refers to the material of the body. The information claims that Apple will be switching back to aluminium from titanium, which would be a very odd move. Sure, aluminium would make the Pro iPhones even lighter, which I'm all up for, but still, going back to aluminium would be a downgrade from the current titanium frame. What's even stranger is that the iPhone 17 Air is said to have a combination of titanium and aluminium chassis, according to Ming Chi Kuo. But all the other iPhone 17 models will be using aluminium frames. We'll definitely have to see how Apple ends up positioning that iPhone 17 Air, as if they do indeed price it above the iPhone 17 Pro Max, like some of the initial rumors were saying, then yes, it does make sense for that to be the only iPhone model that uses some titanium in its chassis. Okay, now the next rumor is regarding the dynamic island, which according to Jeff Poo, will be getting smaller but only on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. This would be thanks to a new metal lens for Face ID, which would result in a much narrower dynamic island. Now, we haven't shown this in our concept, mostly because if Apple does make the dynamic island smaller, I would still expect them to keep it the same size and software in order to keep it consistent across all the other iPhone models. Plus, developers wouldn't have to then make 2 different dynamic island sizes for their apps, as they could still just make one, which would then work on all the iPhone models. So really, the only advantage here would be that when the screen is off, the dynamic island cutouts won't stick out like a sore thumb, or at least not as much. The real dynamic island upgrades would be when Apple integrates Face ID and the front-facing camera under the display, as this way they'll be able to give their dynamic islands any shape and form that they want. Although, this won't be happening anytime soon. And if you're watching this video, you're probably also quite tech savvy, which means that you're very likely your family's tech support for this holiday season. But this year, I'm making a change. With Clean My Mac, I can optimize everyone's devices with ease and then get back to the important stuff that does matter, like putting a Santa hat on Ren. Clean My Mac's Smart Care button handles everything in one click, making it simple to speed up my Mac. Even the least tech-savvy family members can use its built-in assistant for easy problem solving. And if you're worried about what your younger cousin has just installed on your Mac, well, the Moonlock anti-malware protects devices from viruses before they can attack, so you can skip the factory resets. Plus, the My Clutter and Cleanup tools help remove duplicate photos, old caches, and unnecessary files, freeing up space for those family memories. Tech support is easier than ever this holiday season, so simply click the link below to enjoy 30% off Clean My Mac for a limited time only with code ZONEofTECH. Okay, now the next rumored change is an upgrade to the amount of RAM. With the iPhone 15 Pros, Apple bumped the RAM from 6GB to 8, which allowed them to have Apple Intelligence. Well, now with the iPhone 17 Pros, Apple is set to once again bump the RAM to 12GB this time. And I do believe that this will very likely happen, as with the launch of the M4 chip, Apple bumped the base storage on all their Macs from 8 to 16. And what's even more interesting is that Apple also went back and updated the M3 MacBook Air to start from 16 as well, and also the M2 MacBook Air that they are still selling. This is a clear indication that they need 16GB of RAM for Apple Intelligence moving forward, so bumping the iPhones to 12 is probably for the very same reason. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the near future, Apple starts limiting some Apple Intelligence features to these 12GB of RAM iPhones only, like they did with the iPhone 15s, which did not support Apple Intelligence at all due to only having 6GB of RAM. Or at the very least, have those features run on the cloud, whereas on the 12GB of RAM iPhones, they would run locally and hence be more responsive. The next rumored change is when it comes to their batteries. What we know for now is that the iPhone 17s will feature easier to remove batteries thanks to a new adhesive that could be removed via electrical current rather than the current pull tab system. But I believe that a real battery upgrade is one that has not been leaked yet, and that is Apple using silicon carbon batteries. We already know that Apple's planning on launching that crazy thin iPhone 17 Air next year with a thickness between 5 to 6 millimeters. That would only be possible if Apple uses the latest battery technology, which is silicon carbon batteries. That allows them to be almost as thin as a credit card while still maintaining a high capacity. Now, of course, the iPhone 17 Pros won't be nearly as thin as the Air, but Apple could still make use of silicon carbon batteries and pack more juice into the same amount of space. Honor, for example, is one of the leading smartphone manufacturers that uses silicon carbon batteries, and their latest phone, the Honor Magic 7 Pro, has a 5,850 mAh battery. That's more than 2,000 mAh bigger than the iPhone 16 Pro Max is, while only being 0.5 millimeters thicker. We'll have to wait and see, but I believe that if the iPhone 17 Air uses silicon carbon batteries next year, which, it will have to for that insanely thin design, then there's a chance that the Pro models will too, for a much increased capacity. Okay, now this next upgrade is the one that I'm personally excited for the most, and that is the nanotexture display coating. According to Weibo leaker Instant Digital, the iPhone 17 will feature a super hard anti-reflective layer that will also be more scratch resistant. Apple, of course, has been working with Corning to develop their current ceramic shield glass that we've got right now. And Corning also works closely with Samsung, who introduced the anti-reflective display coating on the S24 Ultra earlier this year. So this could still be called ceramic shield, only with the anti-reflective display tag that Corning has given Samsung for the S24 Ultra's display. My guess is that this will be called nanotexture ceramic shield, and if it ends up being anything like Apple has on the Studio Display, Pro Display XDR, iPad, and now MacBook Pro and iMac as well, it is going to be very, very good. Especially outdoors, a display like this will make such a big difference. I'm curious to see if Apple will have this as a premium option that costs extra, like they're currently doing on all their other products, or if this will be the default option exclusively on the iPhone 17 Pros, or even just the Pro Max. By the way, you've probably been wondering throughout this video, where did I get this wallpaper behind me? Well, it's from our new wallpaper pack, Northern Nightfall, designed by me. With Northern Nightfall, I wanted to showcase some beautiful night landscapes with visible northern lights, and I've got 10 unique 8K designs that will look fantastic on your phone, tablet, or even on your desktop. and there's plenty of room to zoom in and reframe, making each wallpaper super customizable. Now, if you're after something more Christmassy, we've got you covered with Christmas Cheer by our designer Alisher. This pack features 10 beautiful wintry Christmas scenes, everything from the classic Christmas tree to a snow-covered cabin in the woods, and even Santa Claus himself. You can find Northern Nightfall and Christmas Cheer plus 130 more packs in our app Wallpapers for iOS and Android. Links down below. Now, there are a ton more iPhone 17 Pro leaks that I didn't get to touch upon. We're set to be getting some big new connectivity upgrades. The first details on the A19 Pro chip also got leaked, and this is the best part, we're set to be getting some major camera upgrades as well. So do subscribe if you want to see a follow-up video with all of those remaining details. And check out this video if you want to learn more about the iPhone 17 Air. I'm Daniel, this means ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.